I want to make myself a coffee, but I'll do the intros quickly, and then I'll finish up my coffee. So I'll be gone for like a tiny bit. Top left side, we are looking at the main base of the Italian stallion, who lost in the weekly last week in the quarterfinals against Mana. Was not happy about that, and I believe he got turned into content. A bit of a classic. This is BASILISK Reynor playing under the account of Jack Frost. Bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of our French Protoss with a miraculous victory on Oceanborn against Art with 2-pace Archon Zealot against Stalkers and Cannons and Batteries. Didn't think it was possible, but he proved us wrong. Berserker eSports DnS. And now I will go make my coffee, so I will let you guys follow DnS. No, Reynor? Nah, DnS. Be right back. Takes 30 seconds, so I decided to just come back. Weekly at a Thursday, indeed, since on Monday night the European server was broken, so this tournament got postponed for a couple of days, and we're gonna do it on the Thursday. That does mean that we have a 2-minute delay, and it means it's a little bit harder to communicate with all of you guys, and it has been during the Masters Coliseum, and obviously it is on a Friday night. Tomorrow night we have another big brain bout as well. But we're still gonna roll with it, because we are grateful to ESL that they run these tournaments each and every single week. And it's always fun to watch games, even with a 2-minute delay. No, I have lost my passion for it, Megalomania. Sometimes, mate, I take a tiny bit of a break, you know. A series ends, and then I think back over the past 20 or 30 minutes, and I'm like, I don't like where this is going. I'm gonna move on. So I have decided that I will move on. And I will let the orcs be orcs. Yeah, that's it. Let me grab my coffee. It's a really old story. I mean, obviously I am familiar with the story, guys, because I was already streaming back then. Just like a lot of other people were streaming. Whoa, my monitor just went. That was funny. Something is really wrong with my cables. My monitor and my camera went off at the same time while I was wiggling my chair. I really need to do something about my cables. But we will eventually fix that. It doesn't happen too often. It only happens if I leave and I come back. But no, I was streaming back then, and I remember all the drama and obviously the classic. Has it all been a lie? But it's so many years ago, I don't think it's very relevant right now. And also, I'll be dead honest, I never truly got to the bottom of all of it, because I kind of just focus on myself. I focus on my own stuff. I focus on the things that I can do better. And I cannot control what everybody else does on their Twitch channel. So, nothing I can really say about it, mate. Been a slow and steady start to this video game between Reynor and DnS. The Overlord has been taken out. We have a couple of Oracles out. This is obviously where I assume DnS is going to try to slow Reynor down a little bit. Because if you don't slow Reynor down at all, playing PvZs against Reynor does not become very enjoyable. Finds a drone that tries to morph into a spore crawler. With one Oracle, that is obviously pretty good defense, but against double Oracle, yeah, you can just lose that spore immediately, and then it becomes even more expensive. You don't just lose your drone, but you also lose the investment of the spore. So I guess DnS got a little bit of bonus value there. One of the Oracles is going to die. Reynor with a very quick drone pull, and that's obviously not the Oracle control that DnS is looking for. If it happens cross-server, we're always like, ow, that was a bit painful, shouldn't happen, but yeah, we can make an excuse for it. If it happens on the European server, there really is no excuse for losing Oracle that quickly. Does the tournament finish today? Yes. This is always a one-day tournament. It starts at 6. Most of the time it ends around like 11 or so. Sometimes 10:45. Sometimes we go late and it's 11:30. Today is a shorter weekly because we have less players signing up since people are used to it to be on a Monday. And people are creatures of habit. So a few less players tonight. I think we're probably done in 3 hours from now. Right now it's 7:30. I think by the time it's 10:30 it should be all over. Hello, Space Marine. Whatever we were talking about, mate. For some reason, view botting, because we got raided by some view botting farms, posting a Telegram advertisement. That kind of dominated the conversation for 10 or so minutes. Reynor's probably pretty happy with how all of this has gone. Has not lost a lot of drones, has killed an Oracle, and that's pretty much all you can really hope for as a Zerg if you don't plan on doing something crazy aggressive yourself. But Reynor is not about that crazy aggression. Reynor likes to play with solid fundamentals. Now, he does need to crank out a lot of roaches. And there's a good chance that DNS is going to get an easy kill on this hatchery here. But I don't know if DNS wants a kill on the hatch. He probably wants more, but now all of a sudden so many freaking roaches show up. And I think just settling for that hatchery would have been a better call, DNS, because now we lose each and every single Zealot. There's a counterattack happening as well. The man does save the Archons, but yeah, it would have been better to just go for that hatch, guys. Be happy with what you can get your hands on. 3 base against 3 base is always good for the Protoss, or almost always good. And that was a pretty much guaranteed kill. Did manage to land a big old stasis, apparently, in the natural. Bunch of drones are stuck, and the Queen is stucky as well. I don't know if that can really justify losing 12 Zealots and not getting the hatch for like 3 Queens or so in return. I know, Shaita. Power overwhelming. Clem just did a super cool 1-hour interview in French. Nani on YouTube. Okay, that sounds awesome, mate, but that does suck for around 94% of us that does not speak French. Oracle needs to move. Oracle does not move. So Jack Frost snipes an Oracle with the Ravages. Jack, guys. Jack is cooking. As he's now here with 117 supply to make life a little bit harder on himself. He's going to take a couple of corrosive balls to the face as he runs roaches into the natural, into the main. And this is where DNS could have really used a bunch of those Zealots that he donated on the other side of the map. Reynor's going to easily take out that overcharged battery. And yes, Archons and Immortals are good, but I do not really believe in them here. Sometimes Archons, Immortals and a War Prism are truly capable of magic, but I don't think that is going to be this time. Too many Queens, too many Ravagers. We have extra Link showing up as well. There is no HP left on these Archons at all. But the Archons fall. Once the Archons fall, obviously the floodgates are open. Or as Demu would say, the floodgates are on. And the Immortals are going to be exposed. Little bit of wiggle, juggle micro is not going to be good enough. GG gets called. Reynor takes a pretty convincing 1-0 lead after 9 minutes. Take care, Finatu. Wish the kiddos sweet dreams, mate. Make sure you tell it a sweet lullaby or two about Protoss. We could use some future great Protoss players out there. Hello? Reynor's name has now changed because I am friends with him. And he has gone from Jack Frost to Sepia Pigra. Huh. What the hell is even that? What the hell is Sepia Pigra, guys? A random BattleNet tag. Alright, fair enough. What is the best strat for an inferior Protoss player versus Zerg, tag to late game air, etc.? Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things that I think you don't have to be incredibly good for that can still make the game go on for a while. I personally have always been a very big fan of the way that I play PvZ. Now, I don't know if it's the best style if you're inferior, but I think the combination of going Adepts first, forcing out some units, slowing down the economy, and then going double Stargate with a Dark Shrine will always force the Zerg to beat you in a complicated way. They cannot just spam Lings and Queens and Roaches and all in you and win, because then they lose their Overseers. And if they lose their Overseers, DTs reign supreme. So I assume that you watch me play ladder every now and then, because I know you've been around for a while. I really do think that my style is good in at least forcing games to go on for a while. And obviously once you have 3 bases and Phoenix and DTs, you can always go carriers too. The bottom left side of Hecate, we are looking at the main base of the man that's representing Basilisk. This is Reynor. Top right side, we are looking at the main base of Berserker, eSports, DnS. I mean, don't defense. We have tried to move on for a little while, mate. I think it would be awesome if you could join us in moving on. Also because it is not very nice. I don't think Winter really stops by my stream very often. But if he would suddenly stop by my stream and he sees a whole bunch of people in my chat being like, oh, Winter view botted, Winter view botted. I don't think that he ever said, hey, I view botted. I know there was a lot of evidence that suggested he did, but you never know what truly happened. And as I said earlier, I didn't dig in very deep. So let's say there is a chance where he didn't. If a whole bunch of people on my channel say that he did and he sees that, that makes me look like a dick, even though I have nothing to do with it. So it would be awesome if we can just move on. Lazy shrimp? Is that really what it means? Lazy shrimp? That's funny. Snockstar is now following me on Twitch. Unbelievable, Snockstar. All these years that I've been here, mate. All these years of you and I battling on the ladder, me casting all these world-class tournaments. And only once I invite you to the big brain bouts, I am worthy of a follow, eh? You know, these guys, they think I don't see that. But I do. Just like I always see those 1 or 2 offline subs after they beat me on the ladder and they want to see the VOD. And they're like, did Roddy say something mean about me? And I never do. You're like, damn it. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here, $3 more in the bank account, baby. Thank you to Mini Munsta for the 11 months. Lazy cuttlefish. That's funny. I guess that's why Reynor was laughing as well. DnS is going to go for Adepts and Oracles once more. There was obviously no problem with his strategy. His strategy is very meta. It is a build that we know could work, but it comes down to execution. And overall, the execution was just a little bit better on Reynor's side than it was on DNS's side. Especially losing that Oracle in the natural to the Spore and Queens. That wasn't too pretty. Losing that other Oracle against Corrosive Ball, that didn't help, but we were already in trouble. And then I think the decision to turn around with those Archons and Zealots and fight all those Queens and Roaches. I think it was one of these moments where DNS knew he could kill that hatchery for sure. But then he was like, maybe Reynor's been very greedy. Maybe Reynor doesn't have a lot of units and I can just kill him here. And by then changing your mind and battling the army, obviously you end up taking a very bad trade. Because it turns out that Reynor had 14 Roaches in production. And they all showed up at once. Well, do you just know everything about everything, mate? What the fuck? How on earth do you know anything about Italian fish in the town of Pigra? Referring to sepia tones. So you speak Korean, you're American, you're good at StarCraft, you're handsome, you're a caster, you're a player, and now you somehow know about Italian history too? Fuck off, bully. You're becoming way too cool and way too smart. Go hang out with cooler people. You're making all of us feel bad and look bad over here, mate. Unbelievable, this guy. This always needs to be the star of the show, eh? Double Oracle of DNS is gonna try to make a drive-by into the third. Took some damage in the natural, takes more damage in the third. Ends up killing 4 drones now in total, 2 more with that final move. Good news is the Oracles live, bad news is they are better than bruised. And that means that they are way more likely to die a little bit later. But well, if we want to focus on the positive, we can say that they are still alive, guys. And that is all that matters here. One of the Oracles again takes a lot of damage. I don't know, Bully. Yeah, it's also a different day and age. There was another streamer that was definitely 100% confirmed. I mean, I don't like talking about this stuff because it's A, not very fun, and B, it's ancient history, but there used to be a Belgian Terran player, I believe. He was Belgian, but maybe he lived in America. And his name was like Mario or something. Not Super Mario, but Mario something. And he always had like 1,000+ viewers, and he was on the top of Team Liquid. And then that was like 100% certain proof that he was viewbotting. And then eventually that stopped. And then his viewer count went from a solid 1,100 every day to 12. And eventually he stopped. I always thought he was kind of nice, but obviously viewbotting is not okay. Because you're trying to get a leg up on the competition. And in an unfair way. Yeah. Can defend it. On a personal level, I had no problem with the guy. I used to play against him on the ladder all the time because we were similar level. And he always played mech. But yeah. That is the one that I really remember. But I think we can all move on, guys. I really don't think we have to spend the entire Thursday evening talking about viewbotting in the year 2012. You used to live in Italy, you lived in Parma. Yeah. You lived in Parma, you lived in Buenos Aires, you lived in Seoul, you lived in Shanghai. What's next, mate? You're my neighbor in Zuidland? It's unbelievable with this bully guy. He's everywhere. It would at least make me feel better if you were ugly, but you're also handsome. It's annoying. Thank the Lord that my MMR is higher than yours. Otherwise, I would honestly just give up altogether. DNS, what are we doing with our second Oracle here, mate? He already lost one. The second one takes a crazy amount of damage, but it does live. And now DNS obviously is just trying to get a feel for what Reynor is doing in this game. Does he need to worry about the aggressive version of Reynor with a lot of links and roaches and ravages of lair tech? Or does he need to worry about Reynor that rushes into a hive and shows up with Vipers and Lurkers at minute 9? It is the latter, and I think the DNS has kind of picked up on that. We have a Templar Archives as far as I know. Yes, we do. We're warping in some High Templars. I don't hate the idea of getting Storm here. Storm, I think, is very useful. And what's also very nice, guys, about having Storm is that you can feedback the Vipers. That may even be better. So, if there is nothing to feedback, you can always drop a zoning Storm here and there. But we kind of need Vipers in the late game in this matchup. If we don't have Vipers, it becomes very difficult. Known as a one-upper. He's not... Bully is not one-upping us, guys. He's like 7-upping us, okay? He's making all of us feel like we are just wasting our lives over here on Twitch and we just haven't done anything cool. It's not a one-upper, mate. He's a 7-upper. He's got his own soda too. Unbelievable, that guy. You don't hear a lot about 7-up anymore. Eh? Used to be a close battle between Sprite and 7-up. These days, I feel like 7-up has kind of disappeared. But maybe that's just me. HTO Mario. Yeah, I think that's what it was, J-Power. HTO Mario. I think he was Belgian. But I could be making it up. He could have just been American. Four Colossus, 4 Archons, triple Immortal. We lose another Oracle. It's a bit annoying because stasis traps are still very useful, guys, in the late game. We have seen Reynor take a bad fight or two over the last month when a bunch of his links got stuck. DNS, mate, why do we hate our Oracle so much? And I know it's not easy because he is looking at Zealots on the left side. He's rallying Zealots into another base and he's trying to get ready for Reynor's big attack. Can we land feedbacks then? Oh, it's so close. Unfortunately, the High Templars did not quite get in range yet. Maybe they can again. Nope. Reynor is a little bit off guard. Is Reynor paying attention? Yes, he is. Silly question, Kevin. But hey. DNS, it's a shame that he's throwing away the Oracles the way he did, because I believe they are still incredibly valuable units here in the late game. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. It's not going to be an easy one for Reynor. Can we split our Zealots a tiny bit? Oh, yes, we can. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Is it then good enough to kill the... Maybe we should attack the hatchery still? Nice little dance between these two. In the end, Reynor with Adrenal Glands is going to be able to clean this up. And he didn't even use all of the banes. But the DNS is going to slowly try to get up to 5 bases. Shame that the man was not able to land his feedbacks. I'm obviously hoping for a strong Reynor performance here today. But I also love the underdog. And DNS is an incredibly nice guy. So it'd be cool to see him find some success here in game 2. As long as you're happy, watch Lulu. You know what, mate? You and I, we may not have lived in Italy and speak Korean, and we may not be as handsome as Bully. But as long as we're having fun, I think that's all that matters. We have a couple of big blinding clouds landing, but the storms are even bigger. Ooh, Banelings do still blow up a couple of units, but hey. Plenty of expensive high HP Protoss units in the mix. I wouldn't say that was all that bad for DNS. Right now, Reynor has lost 725 minerals more than DNS did. You know, slowly, I often agree with you, but I definitely disagree with you on that. Regular Sprite, yes, it's awesome. Sprite 0, it kind of sucks. And I know, guys, sugar, soda, bad, blah, blah, blah. I know. But I will never ever try to make you guys believe that Sprite 0 is as nice as regular Sprite. Because regular Sprite is so much better. I'm sorry. I know it's worse for you. I mean, it's not like the regular one is all that healthy, right? But regular Sprite, fantastic. Sprite 0, okay-ish, but not more than that. Bacardi Raz with Sprite is great. Yeah, that is good. I mean, Sprite is good with a lot of different things. As long as it's not the regular. Or as long as it is regular, not the 0. Few Zealots running into the hatch at 9 o'clock. DNS is going to try to split the Zealots once more as we have 2 big armies looking at each other. It's a terrifying Protoss army, guys. It has potential. Can we feedback DNS? Oh, yes, baby. The double kill. DNS lands double feedback on them Vipers. And that actually means, guys, that Reynor could be in a tiny bit of trouble. And Reynor says, you know what, I need more Ultras. I look at this army, and I don't know. I know that Reynor was joking the other day on his stream, saying that like his MMR is low because he likes to make Lurkers against Protoss. I honestly think Lurkers are pretty much always better than Ultras. There are very few moments where I actually like the Ultras more than I like Lurkers. Reynor is going to try to take a great fight here, but he's got no energy on them Vipers. He cannot land the Blinding Clouds, and if you cannot land Blinding Clouds, how on earth do you properly take a good fight or a nice trade against this army with all the Immortals, Archons, Stalkers? Stalkers could blink forward and snipe the Vipers, by the way. That's exactly what DNS is going to try. Gets 1 out of 2. Good effort. Reynor in trouble. He does still have a crazy amount of minerals, but it's just, I don't see him take good fights here. He maybe needed more Vipers. He only had 2, and after the feedbacks landed, it's been almost impossible for Reynor to take good trades. Early, he lost like, what, 700 resources more? Now it's almost 4k. I mean, it's 3.4k. Now it's 3.8k. Who do you have in the main event of UFC 297 this weekend? I actually just pleasantly was surprised that there is a UFC main event. I saw that Sean Strickland is giving a couple of very questionable answers again at press conferences. Fucking Sean. I think Duplessis wins, mate. I hope it's going to be awesome, but I'm afraid that Duplessis just kind of destroys him. I kind of like Duplessis. I know that a lot of people think he's cringe, and they don't like him, but I kind of like him. And I think he's just better. But hey, I also thought that Adesanya was going to win against Sean. I will probably watch this UFC. That is actually a main event. I didn't know it was happening this weekend, but that is the kind of main event that I'm very excited for. Juanito in the chat. We were talking about you earlier today, Juanito. And your amazing trio victory over Spirit. I didn't know that El Juanito still had it. I'll leave the health discussions up to you guys. I don't know anything, guys. I smoke and I drink. I cannot lecture anyone about anyone. What I can talk about, though, is how Immortals are very good against Ultras if they target them down properly. And a lot of Ultras are going to fall. But hey, this was definitely a much better fight for Reynor. Does he have enough left to actually get on top of the final Archons, the final Stalkers? Actually, it's starting to look like it. Transfuse really making the difference there. And the Immortals did not really target the Ultras properly. So Reynor takes an absolutely fantastic fight after losing a whole bunch of bases. One thing I'm a bit afraid of is that it's like almost too late to take these kind of fights and be hopeful that it's good enough, but can Reynor still make something of this game? He does have minerals for days and he's up 60 supply, so some people may get angry. But being up 60 supply doesn't really mean anything if you cannot fight in range of cannons and batteries and immediate reinforcements. So it's just a matter of time before DNS gets another big army out. And can Reynor really take a fight that good again, like the way that he just did it? Well, we will see if that is possible or not. The Stalkers are going to be annoying. Reynor does not have Infestus. What he does have is Ultras going for a counterattack. There are also Zealots running into this base. If it turns into a kind of game where there's have 3 or 4 fights at once, then it might actually be pretty damn good for Reynor. I'm surprised that these Ultras are doing so much. We have nothing that can deal with these Ultras. It's starting to look like it. So hey, Reynor is actually going to get a base. That is big. That is big. Now we can say that 50 supply lead and the 5,000 minerals in the bank, and they will really start meaning something again. The first 3 bases of Reynor are obviously pretty much mined out, so it's basically just this base, but taking out this one is massive. And obviously Reynor is about to get his hands on half a gold, half a blue base as well. Reynor is still gonna attack. I think eventually he may have to slow down, but hey, he has taken out a base and he has taken an amazing fight. A lot of these Ultras are a bit low on HP though, which makes the supply, I think, a tiny bit deceiving. You really don't like Strickland as a person? Well, mate, I'm gonna go and give you guys the hottest take of the evening. I don't think you're alone. I have the feeling that there are quite a few people out there that don't like Sean Strickland. But hey, there's also a whole bunch of people that do. But that is not a very shocking take, because he says a lot of incredibly messed up and fucked up shit. A whole bunch of drones are going to go through the meat grinder here. 12 of them will fall. The hatchery will fall. Archons, Immortals, and High Templars in the end survive. And now DNS has taken that supply lead. And obviously Reynor doesn't have a crazy amount of gas in the bank. This is why I was casting earlier in a way that I still thought that DNS was winning, even though he got cleaned up at the bottom side of the map. But Reynor is making a game out of this. And I obviously do love seeing that. Now, Zerg does not have recall. What Reynor does have is Broodlords. Stalker count only at 9. Is 9 Stalkers enough? No, that's not enough. DNS has to be careful here. He's probably just going to try to bulldoze his way forward with Storms and Archons. Reynor now down to 3 bases, guys, temporarily, and that's something that sort of resembles a hidden base. I don't know about this fight. Ultras obviously are tanky, but cannons can be very good against Ultras. In the end, they will die, though. And DNS decides to recall a bunch of his units from the top left to the bottom right to keep this base safe. Fun game, guys. Fun game. 20 minutes in. As I repeated myself. I hate it when I do that. But everyone does. Yeah. I notice that I most of the time do it when I'm talking, but I'm also trying to read chat and I'm trying to catch up a little bit on chat. I don't like doing it. I will try to do better, guys. 136 supply on DNS's side, 144 on the side of Reynor. Reynor has Broodlords and Ultras. 10 Broods, 9 Ultras. Maybe? I don't know. It's gonna be chaotic. Reynor's also splitting off a lot of units to get on top of this base in the top side of the map. There isn't really a whole lot to kill. Suddenly the Stalker count here is crazy high, and if the Stalkers get underneath these Broodlords, I'm afraid that the Broods could die rather quickly. Of course, Stalkers could die quickly as well. If they blink forward and they get surrounded by Broodlings, and they have Ultras that are on top of them, and Roaches and Ravages showing up as well. An insanely cool game now at this point, as Reynor is finding more and more damage with non-stop Link run by, and look at them Links with +3 melee, +3 Carabase. Only Battery Overcharge can save the day here. Yeah, DNS probably thought that that was the army that was going to end the game for him, but it is just not that easy. Broodlords may not be as terrifying as they once upon a time were, but they are still damn good in pretty high numbers. And the problem with Stalkers is that even if you have 20 Stalkers, you don't blink 20 Stalkers underneath Broodlords and kill all of them. You kind of get like 10 or 15 Stalkers in rage, and then you kill 1, 2, but then it starts slowing down and your army can disappear very quickly. Reynor is still maxed out, is obviously rebuilding some Broodlords and also getting Infestors. I do think the Infestor choice is very smart. And the army overall just looks healthier at the moment, as Queens are attacking his own units, but probably a misclick try to transfuse will drop a transfuse or two. Insanely cool battles. A couple of Zealots getting on top of a wide open base here, guys. That is a big one. This is the most important base that Reynor at the moment has, and he is going to pay attention, but will lose 10 drones. I think that is sometimes true, Red Winter, but I don't think that's always true. Like Colby Covington, I'm sure is a bit of a dick, but it's clearly an act, right? Like, it's very obvious, and he has even admitted many times that it's an act. And you hear him whisper to other fighters, like, I'm just trying to solve the fight, man. I think Sean Strickland is kind of just this way. I really don't think there is too much fakeness. Now, of course, once you get rich and famous, you really maybe start believing in it, and you go over the top. I don't think that Sean Strickland is too different than what he pretends to be in these interviews. So I don't think that is always true. I'm sure that it's true for some fighters in the past. But Sean is just kind of Sean. DNS saw Mana win with Massive Mortar and decided to copy. I'm sure that DNS is a loyal subscriber to that YouTube channel of Mana. And you guys should too. Our man Mana passing that 10,000 subscriber barrier the other day. Mana's a legend. And he's probably going to be very good in Stormgate for like 3 weeks, and then he turns 40 and his best days are behind him. But those first few weeks, baby, he's going to be flying. Kidding, Mana. I know you're not turning 40 yet. It's going to be harder and harder for DNS to win the game with this army, guys, that he's currently working with, because Stalkers are not going to do all that well if they get fungled, and there are links with Adrenal Glands, Ultras, and Broodlords. But kudos to Reynor for taking an absolutely amazing fight over here and then turning this game around. DNS has still made it very hard on him and is going to try, but don't really believe in this army anymore. I really believed in that army earlier with the Archons, the Colossus, but this seems like it's going to be hard. 8 Ultras, 90 Zerglings. As we're going to have a forward blink, but we get fungled. There are a couple of Ultras that will get on top of it, and Reynor has a lot of units coming in. Here are them Zerglings, so it's a mix between Links, Ultras, Broodlings, Spines, and Infestors, with Blinding Clouds and Fungals at the same time. I think it is safe to say that DNS's army is not going to cut it. Look at that Serral, look at that Blinding Cloud. Reynor is also working on some content. Now that, my friends, is a perfect, how do you say that? Thumbnail. That right there, that final fight. Immortals surrounded with a Blinding Cloud in the middle. Now that is a thumbnail worthy. I don't know if Reynor's going to upload the video, but if he does, even if he plays in the future against Max Specs or Hero, he should use that screenshot right there. You know? Everybody gets a lot of clicks by spreading a little bit of fake news, right guys? So Reynor should just pretend that that is going to happen in one of those future games.